him.
This is the last Grossman. Who is this?
This is Flaming Dragon!
Oh, okay, Flaming Dragon. Fuckface. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face! Now, I don't know what kind of pan-Pacific bullshit power play you're trying to pull here, but Asia Jack is my territory. So whatever you're thinking, you better think again. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to head down there, and I will rain down on a godly fucking firestorm upon you. You're gonna have to call the fucking United Nations and get a fucking binding resolution to keep me from fucking destroying you. I am talking scorched earth, motherfucker. I will massacre you. I will fuck you up!
Because we kill him.
Sorry, I love that one. I know there's the whole taco narrative that people have going around right now about Trump. And that's super popular, right? People want to bitch at him for his tweets. They ignore the fact that he just resolved a war, his 8th war since his presidency. But they ignore that, but they don't, and they say, oh, he's tacoing out again. He's basically running away. That couldn't be further from the truth. He's doing the exact opposite of that. And I've been saying this for a while. I said in this post, I'll just reiterate it from yesterday. I said I've been saying for weeks that China was posturing. Again, they've been making tons of moves, guys. They've been reaching out to countries that are affiliated with the United States and work well with us, and ones that don't, and basically saying, "Hey, we need to start tariffing, or not tariffing, but we need to start following China's rule of order." And leaning on the United States in order to be able to apply pressure to them. And some of these letters started to get forwarded on to the president, as well as all the other moves that they've been making for the last several weeks. And finally, he just sent a message to instill fear and pain upon them. What's interesting is yesterday when I was on my bike ride, my first 20-mile bike ride, I wasn't able to do that this year because I was getting ready for surgery in my nut thing. So that was a lot of fun. But I listened to a number of commentators that I really like to listen to in regard to China to kind of get the skinny and understand what's happening there. And they said that it was shocking how quiet. I need bigger headphones. These are really nice headphones. Between this and they're Hi-Fi Man, and I forget. I think these are the same, but they're like $1,300 between the amp converter thing and then the headphones. But the sound is just magical, so it's well worth the money. But they were saying that Chinese media was insanely quiet about what Trump had tweeted and China's response to it, probably trying to figure out damage control, not expecting in any way that there would be a 100% increase in tariffs November 1st, and that Trump would put as much pressure onto them before their negotiations in a week and a half that they were putting on us. Because again, it's go big or go home. This is exactly what Trump does. But now he's saying he's backing it off, and this is what he does. And I don't understand how people don't understand the fucking playbook by now. It's very clear. Trump comes in with a hammer, and then he walks it back so that he can close a deal. That's what happened with Israel and Gaza. I mean, he came in with a hammer on both of them, right? He told Netanyahu, "Shut the fuck up. Let's close a deal." And they did that same kind of thing with Gaza, obviously, basically saying, hey, we'll just level it and the rest of you. And so, again, this is the formula. This is what he does. And if you're not ready for that kind of volatility, you're probably in the wrong game. Also, 10-year bonds. I saw an article. I don't even remember where it was. It's talking about how bonds were going higher, which I thought was just odd. Because they're not. I mean, you can look here at the 10-year and see that the yield is going down and getting ready to break down, which is great. This is what you want to see. This shows market volatility going down too. And then if I pull up the 30-year, the 30-year was rolling over too, 1.74%. These are good things. This is going to help with mortgage rates. It's going to help with everything. Everything that America needs right now, it's going to help with. So I think you got to realize that. I do want to jump to something real quick, though. I saw a post, and I want to see if I can – I need to look at the post, too. But I saw a lady from JP Morgan talking this morning about an investment that they're going to do in critical minerals and sectors that need it in America. And so I want to hear what that's about. So we're going to listen to that real quick because I was listening to Scott Bessent talk right after Trump's speech in Israel. So I didn't get a second to hear this, and so I want to hear it. So let's do that real fast, okay? Loss in Crypto said the market needed this drop. I still think we're going to drop a little bit this morning. I think you should be mentally prepared for that. But it does look like we could go a little bit lower. And people were asking about Solana. Solana was down 12% at close on Friday. It's down another almost 12% today for a total of 25%. That is a lot, which is true. But if you actually look at Solana from where it started on Friday, it is down roughly 13% from that time. So in total, the SOLT fund is down about right now about 24%. And Solana is down from Friday morning about 12 to 13%. So it is 2xing. It just isn't as much fun to the downside. And you're still seeing some of that leftover, the hangover from pre-market. Where it's down, but it is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Real quickly, though, I want to listen to this. It looks like Besson is still talking on Fox Business, too. I might try and pull that up. 1 second here.
Wells Fargo is scheduled to report tomorrow.
But this is the lady from JP Morgan, or I'm sorry, JP Morgan, I believe, talking about investing in the United States.
And Morgan Stanley, they're going to be in focus on Wednesday. Joining us right now is Betsy Grasick. She is Morgan Stanley's head of banks and diversified financial research. And I imagine we were going to talk about earnings this morning, and we will, but I'm curious, actually, what your reaction is to this big announcement from JP Morgan today, where they're planning to invest $1.5 trillion over the next 10 years.
Yeah, so this announcement that came out just a couple hours ago, right?
Yep.
Is reflecting, I believe, not that, I believe that JP Morgan is looking to bring to bear the resources of the entire organization to this effort. So it's not just on balance sheet lending that they're committing to, but also focusing the time and attention of the investment banking division to find those companies that can help drive improvements in supply chain for things like rare earth minerals, in addition to a whole range of other needs that we have to develop and improve our security.
Right. So the stock's up 1% today. I imagine it's more up 1% because the market is moving up in a
control rare earth
across the board.
Sorry,
my question to you is, how much do you think that's going to
one.
actually add to the business?
So when I think about 1.5 trillion, I think in the press release they highlighted that's about 500 billion
Hopefully this
more
works.
than they
Oh,
would
no,
have
it's
done
blacked out.
anyway.
Son of a bitch.
So then you take 500 billion over 10 years. So you're talking about 50 billion a year. If it were to be only on balance sheet, and in 2025, we are forecasting that JP Morgan will be growing its loan book by 63 billion. So it is something that's in the run rate of the organization, but importantly, as they said in the press release, it's not just loans, right? It's also underwriting.
Right. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Are you suggesting that because there's already a $63 billion run rate, that this is not a big deal, or it is a big deal?
No, I think it is important,
right,
as it puts a spotlight on some critical industries that we.
All right, this lady's a fucking idiot. I don't think I'm getting anything from that. We'll look at the actual post and go from there. All right, real quickly, Zero Hedge posted this. Beijing wasn't expecting a second trade war front. So this is fascinating. I don't see anybody talking about it. This is from 9 hours ago, Financial Times. Dutch government takes control of Chinese-owned chip maker Nexperia. Moved by the Hague escalates frictions between Western countries and Beijing over access to high-end technology. The Dutch government has taken control of Nexperia, a Chinese-owned but Netherlands-based semiconductor maker, to try to ensure enough of its chips stay in Europe for the automobile and consumer electronics industry. So now, because of what China did with their whole threat of basically throttling chips and rare earth elements, now we've got another front here where the Dutch government is basically saying, oh, if you're going to do that, we're going to take control of a chip maker that is owned by China and based in the Netherlands. So this is fascinating. It says, for the first time, the Hague has used its Goods Availability Act because of a threat to the continuity. I am tired this morning. I got to wake up. And safeguarding on Dutch and European soil of crucial technological knowledge and capabilities. The Ministry of Economic Affairs said in a statement, Nexperia is owned by WingTech, a Chinese-listed company that Washington has placed on its entity list, meaning the U.S. groups require a license, usually very hard to obtain, to do business with it. The move escalates frictions between Western countries and China over the high-end technology such as advanced semiconductors and critical raw materials. So now, guys, we're fighting with China, but with the help of the Dutch. And so again, this is good. All the pressure that can be applied to them is a good thing. Wall Street Engine posted China's exports jumped 8.3% in September to the 328.6 billion, the fastest growth in 6 months and well above forecast per Bloomberg. So Bloomberg loves China. I don't know if there's a lot of money invested in it. I don't know if they pay a lot of the ad revenue. I don't know why, but Bloomberg, Wall Street, there's a bunch of publications that are in love with China and have been forever. And everything coming out of China is beautiful and smells like roses. But let's read the rest here. Imports rose 7.4%, lifting China's trade supply to 90.5 billion. Economists say the export resilience driven by high growth sectors like EVs, ships, and batteries. So first off, this doesn't look like much, but it is showing an increase in import dollars. And then export dollars, it looks, I don't know, kind of flat since January to down. It looks like it's in line with everything else, right? But the thing I wanted to put in here is I think these numbers are being inflated to be larger than they really are. China is exporting, we showed a little bit of this yesterday, I could probably pull up the chart again, to countries like Vietnam and other places around the world where it's not going to get the same margins, and also, which means, and I think they're running at a loss for a lot of these. They're just trying to get rid of, they're basically just trying to push out what they have because they need to in order to keep their factories going. And so I think what we're going to see is, yes, you'll see an initial surge just by the way these things work. They'll be able to push out supply for a little bit longer, but I think after that, a very short period of time, the supply is going to overwhelm markets, and you're going to see basically these things stop, and you're going to start to see the real pain that China is experiencing, because it is very real. And a lot of people don't seem to realize that, but they will soon. What am I buying today? I'll probably buy SOLT. But I don't totally know. The markets need to open. Quick beat on where we're sitting in pre-market, guys, from the stock market and from crypto. So you can see we're definitely getting a good bounce. It's retraced a little bit, though, from where it was last night and where it was this morning. So we're seeing a little bit of coming back. And I think this is normal. If you look in the bottom right corner, you'll see that Bitcoin itself is testing that support line that goes back a ways right over here to December of 2024. So we're trying to basically find support, and we're doing what I thought we would do. We're dipping into the morning. And so maybe we still get Tesla at 398. It closed yesterday at 413. It's up 2.5%. Maybe we don't, though. I mean, out of all of them, that looks pretty strong. But I do think we could see a little bit of settling this morning, just because there is so much momentum into the drop, and then even more so happened in after hours. It is natural to see a pull down in the morning. I would say it's almost healthier to see the market have some additional sell pressure where some people are like, I don't know, man, I'm getting the fuck out. I think that would almost be healthier. And once we see that, I think the market goes up. I've got about $120,000 that I can take that I was piling into ARGT, some additional Tesla that I was buying last week. And then I can't remember what the third one was. But basically things that aren't related to crypto and that didn't get hit nearly as hard last week, percentage-wise. I'm probably going to dedicate some of those funds into something like SOLT this morning to be able to capitalize off that 25% drop over 2 days. So I think that's what I'm going to do. We'll see. Like I would have went with like MetaPlanet because, again, it's right near its lows, and some of these others, but they're in like a bottoming pattern. I've already started accumulating them. I'm not going to get rid of those positions. I'm just going to keep adding to them. But I think like the thing that can reflex the most, because again, if you drop 25%, the spring is very strong too. And so I'll probably look at SOLT. I think that's going to be the one for today. But yeah, so you can see here, let's look at ETH. I want to look at some of these other charts real quick, guys. We got some really beautiful charts, and I'll just pull this other one back here. if you look right here, you can see how, again, we're testing support. So with Bitcoin, we're doing it on that trend line going back to December. With Ethereum, I argue this is out of the top, like, big coins, this is the most beautiful chart to me. Even though other shitcoins in the top 100, like Sui and stuff, they have, and Doge and all these others, they have beautiful looking charts just because they were liquidated so much. But I love the support we're finding on this one. This is beautiful. This is still very much a bull flag. If you just look at the candle bodies, this is a bull flag. And so I think that one of the next big movers is going to be this. If I look at the ETH BTC ratio, it's starting to head back in the right direction again too. It got washed out lower. It found support on the first fib. It looks like a bull flag as well. So I think we're heading into the time where maybe Bitcoin's stable to up and maybe shitcoins take off, with Ethereum being one of the bigger ones that's leading that. That's kind of my thought process right now. Very excited about that. Let me go back here. Thanks for the show this morning. My time, Jesse, much appreciated. Helped me, my wife and sister-in-law out a lot, mate. No problem. I'm happy to be here, man. History Guy Scalps. GDX keeps ripping, Jesse. Gold futures, all-time high. GDX 75.80 now. Hit support Thursday and Friday. New resistance this AM. I think that it's going to keep ripping. I think that's actually a really positive thing because the gold market is huge. It is a, 29 trillion. I can't even keep track right now. But what I think is what I've been talking about kind of for years. Yeah, years. I've been saying that I think China will make the mistake of putting all their eggs in one basket, and that basket would be gold. And I think that's a very bad decision. It's old tech. It is definitely being used as a store of value right now, which I think is a pretty normal thing and to be expected. And hindsight really is 2020 on this one. It was the thing to do because again, China, they're gonna basically devalue their currency against gold, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing happen. Michael Howell talked about it for a long time. We're seeing gold go up a lot in value, but I think what happens is I think some of that starts to flush out and trickle in to Bitcoin and the rest of the market, and it's doing that. It's slowly doing that, but it's doing it. There's a lot of money printing going right now. You can't necessarily see it in all the bond markets around the world, I think, because gold is absorbing so much and people don't trust a lot of governments. But there's a lot of money printing going on. Gold is the beneficiary of that. Eventually that stops. I think after today, I think we're going to start going up again. And I say that because even things like the dollar, we're trying to test back. I've been saying that for a while and hit resistance over here. Really, though, you can look at this in a number of ways, and I should probably draw it on a shorter time frame, right? So it's more like this. If we really look at it on a shorter time frame, and by shorter time frame, I'm still talking years. I'm going back to 2022. But you can see where resistance, or I should say support, went through a second, support, went through a second. But we're still sitting over here, and you can see where we hit it as resistance here and here and here. But the dollar, I think, is going to reach its peak strength here soon, and then that will start to roll over as well. The MOVE index will come down. The VIX will come down. Maybe that's this morning. And I think things will start to look a lot better as the dollar starts to lose some value again. We've talked about how we want the dollar lower, so that is a good thing when it happens. And then U.S. oil, I think, is going to continue to drop here too, whereas the beginning of the week it had a little bit of a bounce. It is still in a bottoming pattern, in my opinion, and it doesn't have a ton of support where it's at. Especially, again, if we start to see the U.S. moving on Venezuela, I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. That might take a while. But if we start to see the U.S. moving on Venezuela, you're going to see oil prices absolutely fucking hit the floor. They're going to hit the floor because then people are going to realize that the American market has access to cheap Venezuelan oil, some of the cheapest on earth. You know what? I don't even know. I will ask Grok while we're going here, guys. Let me just see if I can start a new chat. Sometimes I have to refresh. All right. I probably misspelled it and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, I got 1 second here. It's weird the way Grok works sometimes. It seems to time out when I just use that website. And so I have to refresh and go back into it again. But I'm going to ask it about Venezuelan oil, and I'm going to ask it about how cheap can the production prices get versus the rest of the world. And so we're letting that run right now. We'll see what it comes back with. No, we're going to keep that off. I got my Speechify wanted to turn on and start playing once it was done, and I don't want it to do that. Banshee, thank you for the $10. I appreciate you, sir. But yeah, so what I think is going to happen, I think in the not too distant future, and I don't know, maybe we test up here first. This actually appears to be off. Let me move this over. Maybe we test up over here first. But I think what's going to happen, like right up to here, but I think what's going to happen is we're more likely to roll down here and try and test support as people realize that we're going to take Venezuela. We're gonna install the person who won the Nobel Prize. I forget her name. She immediately thanked Donald Trump and said that he's the person who deserves it. So he's getting it next year, I think, for sure. But that also instills her ability to be the leader of Venezuela, the transitional leader, when we wipe out Maduro. And again, all our messaging is that we're taking out. Here's the fun thing. I don't even think maybe I haven't talked about this, but we should really do this super fast. And I could not find, guys, a way to pull up Fox Business. The only way I have access to it right now is YouTube TV. And when you pull up YouTube TV and you're recording on a screen, it blacks out the screen, so I can't actually show you what the person or the video that's going on. There's also right now we got the transportation department head talking on Fox Business. If you guys know of a way to get it to where I can play video while recording, something like CNBC, where you go to their website and you can log in and have your own account and pay for it, please let me know. I couldn't figure that out, but maybe I'm being stupid. I'm kind of old. So please let me know. All right, let's look over here. I want to see what Venezuelan oil looks like. So we did get a response back. I might let the robot speak. Well, no, I'll do it. Venezuelan oil, particularly from the vast Orinoco Belt reserves, has the potential to be produced at a relatively low cost compared to many global sources. Though not the absolute cheapest, this potential assumes efficient operations, adequate investment, and the absence of sanctions and mismanagement that have historically inflated expenses. So this is going to be forward-looking. There's a ton of stuff to fix, right? There's a ton of stuff to fix with Venezuelan oil. They've been mismanaged for a very long fucking time. They're operating at a fraction of capacity. It could take even a couple of years to really get that up and running. But here's the good news. It can significantly drop the price of oil. And what do I mean by that? Let's look over here. So type of oil, Venezuela's reserves are mostly extra heavy crude, which requires dilution with lighter oils, naphtha. For transport and processing, this adds to cost, but offset by a large, accessible onshore reservoirs that allow for low lifting extraction expenses. I'm probably going to zoom to the bottom because I want the actual prices. Let me see. What's the summary? Give me a summary. All right. At $8 OPEC's potential, it's cheaper than North American or offshore sources, but higher than the Middle East due to its heavier. So this is amazing. So right now, recent benchmarks, Rystad data from onshore, break-evens at $27 per barrel, full cycle North American, shale at 45, oil sands at 57, Venezuelans projects in a line at closer to the 30 to 40, break-even for development sanctions. In summary, Venezuelan oil could potentially be produced at $8 to $12 per barrel, making it among the lower cost options globally, cheaper than the U.S. and Canadian sources. In the East, with Venezuela's massive reserves, could support sustained low-cost output of 2 to 3 million barrels per day. For the latest figures, costs may vary, edged 5 to 10% due to global inflation. So I'm not really sure. I need to probably dig into this more and make sure that I fully understand it. And you guys let me know if you understand it better than me. I'm not sure if it's talking that the all-in prices are 30 to 40. I'm not sure what it means by that. But existing production remains cheaper. So anyway, I'll have to figure that out. I'll do deeper research to see exactly what the prices are, but I do think it's going to drive down. I think it's going to drive down the cost of oil, if nothing else, just because of extra production. We can offset and kind of flood the market and force prices down from overproduction. And that is something that I don't think a lot of people look at, but I do think that comes no matter what, and that could help these numbers even more. Can you turn off hardware acceleration in the browser? That may fix it. Not sure if it can create dedicated profile for it. Hardware acceleration, I don't think I have it on. Let me just check super fast. Let me see, hardware. Let me just type in acceleration. Use graphics acceleration when available. I do. Huh. Okay. Was the video getting choppy? Did somebody say it was getting choppy in here? I don't know. But yeah, I turned it off. Okay. I didn't realize I had it on. Do you think that'll help with some of the jitteriness that happens sometimes? Hey, Jesse, this is my first crypto cycle. I have not experienced the big cycle top pullback before. Can you describe? It looks like pain and suffering, and it looks like it looks like some of what you saw Friday, right? Actually not as bad because the altcoins, like literally you wiped out. You had like, I think Atom on some exchanges. That's one of the top 100 coins. It dropped 99%. Just crazy numbers, man. Crazy numbers. So it was painful, but what you'll have is you'll have a major flush. You'll have probably like a period of maybe a couple of days where you're down 30+%. And so it's a big one. Most likely that's what we would see, 20 to 30 at least, right? And then you would have to try and ascertain, hey, is the cycle over or does it have room to run? And again, there's going to be a lot of macroeconomics at play. Each time we go higher and hit another price point, like if we get to 148,000, I would hope you've taken a decent amount of profits at that time. I would try and at least be 50% out of my positions, if not more, maybe 70%. It just all depends, right? It all depends on if they've run yet and just a lot of stuff. But I would probably try and at least be 50% out. Why? Because if we get one of those big drops at that level, then you can use that money to buy the dip because it'll pop again no matter what. It always pops again. But the question is it going to keep going? And so that's the time where you make that decision to sell. Not into the drop, but after it bottoms and you've done some dip buying. So not only did you put some money onto the side so that you didn't lose money on that, but then you were able to buy it on like a 25% drop in Bitcoin. Maybe that's a lot further. Maybe that's 50% on some of these other things. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to really Bitcoin, just Bitcoin. And I'll probably do things. I might even do some things with IBIT and we'll see what puts look like. I haven't even looked at them. I probably should actually. I'll put that on my list. But I would like to position myself with that, and then again have cash ready, buy the dip on the drop, look to apply some IBIT calls or on that, maybe as a multiplier to the upside. Stay out of the other stuff, and then maybe look to shorting too if the puts look good. If they don't, whatever. There's a lot of things we're going to be able to short. I just want to find the things that are going to be the most liquid for my hedging strategy. But we'll talk about that a lot more over the next month. We've got a little bit of time to do it, but we're going to probably get a little deeper, less news-related stuff and less noise, and we're going to get into, what's the plan and how are we addressing it and what's looking good and what isn't looking good. And we're going to start our positioning just even small amounts in hedges because I want to start seeing them now and seeing how their options contracts are performing, seeing what kind of volumes they have in the stocks, seeing if the picture of the stock is getting better. And I always, from my personal experience, if I buy something, even just a small amount of it, that's not necessarily the time to go all in. I've said this before. I'm usually very early to things, but I do that so that I can start tracking them so that I can understand their movement and I can understand the companies better. Because when I have money in it, I pay attention. And so that's the way we're going to do it. We're going to have a lot of fun, I think, in the next month. It's going to be a wild fucking ride. I can tell you that. So I'll probably be doing more YouTube videos too. Great idea to reduce the news, Jesse, says MB. Those who follow you are up to date via X anyways. That's what I'm saying. So I feel like some of it I'm just rehashing. I think it should be like a news highlight and looking at a lot of charts and then talking about different topics that come up. You guys have questions. I want to answer them. I want to get better at looking at chat. So I just think it's going to work better. Real quick, U.S. economy, Larry Tentarelli put 3 to 5% index pullbacks are a standard event and set the stage for the next leg higher. Most pullbacks don't lead to a change in long-term trend, but some do. Stock and markets always reset at some point. It's important to know the difference by the way pullbacks and change in trend. Volatility is the toll we pay to invest. 3% dip, 5% dip. It says various declines per year, 1928, 2023. So 7.23% dips, 3.45% mild corrections, 1.1 10% correction, 0.5 15% severe correction, 0.3 20% bear market. So like the numbers of times that this has happened over this period of time is very, very low. Very, very low. The rehashing still helps me a lot, gives me opportunity. Yeah, but I'm going to probably try and be more strategic about it. At least pick your on the news events and maybe roll through them quicker. And maybe they're just separate shows. Maybe we have like some news stuff, and then maybe we have some jam sessions where ideally I'd like to automate the news. I actually want to make, I've said this a bunch of times, I need to do it, but I want to make one X thread that's somehow tied to members. I don't totally know how to do this. That's tied to members that are on X or one of these other platforms, whatever. Just get it to where it's all synced up and it understands who people are, at least the best it can. And get it to where I can just have that news be the news thread, because there's logic I use every day with how I look up the news. There's certain people I always want to hear from. There's other keywords that I want to pay attention to. So I do a lot of that already. I need to revise it and clean it up, but I do a lot of that with X Pro, right? So I do a lot of that. You got the home screen, and then you got specific keywords for information, for people, for topics. I do a lot of that already. I just need to clean it up. And then if I had it automatically posting, then the news events could be something I read off, but it's not something I literally have to create. Right now I have to create that shit, and it sucks. I've got to go in every day, and I've got to look at stuff and just look at feeds and be like, I like that, I like that. It's like I should just really revise my algorithm to pull all this stuff up automatically, have all the posting be done to you guys. I could probably have an AI agent that sounds like me, that's built off an LLM that literally looks at how I've responded throughout time, and then graphs a message like that, but maybe a little bit better and with better grammar. So I don't know. I think that would be cool, and then maybe we just rehash it real quick on here, and then we go into deep topics and charts and all the other stuff. I think there's at least 3 different parts of the show I'd like to do. So JC Peretz says, good perspective that this bull market is still below average in both terms, both returns and duration. So this is Ryan Detrick, one of my favorites, again, part of the algo. At the peak, this current bull market was up 89%. This isn't even half the average of 191% of the prior 11 bull markets. So yeah, so we can do a lot better, and we're nowhere near done. Peter, thank you for becoming a member. You can talk in chat. Another one from Ryan. The 4th year of the bull market starts right now. Only once did your year 4 see a bear market and end to the bull in 1966. So this is going back to 1950 to current. So you're talking about 75 years of history, and only one time did the 4th year turn into a bear market. So the odds are on our side that that's probably not the case. It says the past 4 years saw stocks up double digits and higher 6 out of 7 times. So those are really good odds. And then again, we got JP Morgan. Oh, okay. So let's see if there's better information in here than what that retarded lady was saying on the CNBC. JP Morgan is launching a $1.5 trillion financing initiative over the next decade to back industries vital to the U.S. national security and economic independence. I wonder who could have talked them into this. Do you think our, I don't know, economic advisors and Donald Trump, do you think that they might have talked to JP Morgan and said, hey guys, we want you to invest in U.S. national security and economic independence? I think they probably did. It says, as a part of the effort, JP Morgan will make direct equity investments of up to $10 billion in U.S. companies and expand its banker network. So they will literally buy $10 billion worth of stock in these companies or bonds. And expand its banker network. Expand its banker network? You know what that sounds to me? We're going to do a lot of lending. The plan focuses on supply chain resilience, defense and aerospace, energy and independence, and frontier tech like AI and quantum. Boy, this could be a shot in the arm for hyperscalers Everybody related to energy, defense, and aerospace. This sounds like this, and this isn't just going to happen with JP Morgan. I think they're going to get all the banks to do this shit. They're pushing these guys to do this. Let's see what Jamie Dimon said though. He said the U.S. has become too reliant on unreliable sources of critical minerals, products, and manufacturing, calling for faster policy action and investment. The initiative aligns with the Trump administration's, I'm sure it does, push to strengthen domestic production and infrastructure and builds it on JPM's earlier $1 trillion commitment, marking a 50% increase planned sector financing. So we've just got a message today, guys. This is a pretty important one, so I want to focus some energy on it. JP Morgan has said that they're going to start expanding their loan book pretty significantly, marking a 50% increase in planned sector financing. So these kind of stocks right now and the build out that we're going to see in the energy sector and the defense sector and in the critical minerals for those and other related products is going to be exponential. This is just the start. This is just the fucking start. We're going to be seeing a lot more of this. Mike Zaccardi, and this is a big deal. This is actually like really great news. I hope people can understand that. We're getting the morning dip, like, and probably in some way, and maybe it barely happens. Maybe Tesla doesn't even close its gap. That's fine at 389 or whatever. That's fine. That doesn't have to happen. But we might get a little negativity in the morning, but I think we're gonna rock it up eventually here because there's just a lot of good news going on right now. The fundamentals haven't changed. We've got an age of abundance in front of us, and I can tell you, I listened to like 4 hours of fucking Chinese content over this weekend. Or yeah, it's probably more than that. It was probably 4 hours yesterday, okay, when I was biking and doing other stuff. And from what I'm seeing, China is hurting badly, very badly. And Xi cannot go toe-to-toe with us right now. Do I speak Chinese? No, I don't. No. I use translation tools, and then there's a bunch of people I follow that have either lived in China for very long periods of time, live in China right now, or in Hong Kong, or are basically expats of it and just interpret really well and can tell me what's going on in the region. And they're just really good at explaining what's happening. Sometimes I think I know more about China. Honestly, I believe I know more about China than most Chinese people do because they've got the Great Firewall. Mike Zaccardi. Small cap earnings growth is now positive, expected to eclipse large cap earnings growth in the second half of 2025 and 2026. We saw this one before. We'll stop right here for this part. We got other things to talk about anyway. But small caps, you can see are dark blue. You can see how they went from very negative to flat to negative, not as bad, to up, and sitting in a really good place right now. So this is good. This is going to show market breadth. It's going to be a really good thing. Do you follow Walmsley guy? I don't know who that is. There's so many people to follow, though. But I don't know who that is. All right, let me go over here. Let's go to Bitcoin super fast. And this is what I think is happening. And if we look at the chart here, guys, that's essentially what's happening. I changed this line right here from red to green now. And it's sitting beautifully above it. So we actually ended up bouncing above this and going up to about here and then landing right back down here. And now we're sitting here and this line is green. So we did exactly what I said we were going to do. I think the next move is to hit up here around 117-ish. Let's see, what is it at right now? Where I've got the midline. I'll probably make that a little bit darker. That's the area. So 117 and change, we want to get above that number. And if we do that, then we're off to the next leg. The next leg gets us around 128,000, something like that. 126, 127. So this should be fun. Again, massive short interest sitting in front of us that could be liquidated. It could be the same thing to the upside. So if people start to realize that this JP Morgan news is good, or start to realize that all of the news is going to be good and that we got Max Payne out of the way, guys, already. Just think about it. 100% tariffs. Trust me, that's Max Payne. China's not escalating again. I spent 4 hours yesterday listening to commentary. They are not escalating again. We won't see any of that shit. We're going to see a very calm environment, I think, for the next week and a half until the next meeting occurs. Maybe I don't know. I think it would be insane for them to try and do anything escalatory. So I don't think you're going to see it. We'll see if I'm wrong. I don't think I will be. Let me look here. We got more chatters here. History Guy Scalps. These rare earth charts look really good. I was an MP in the 20s. I wrote it up to the 50s and sold, up another 60% since then. I wanted to look at some of that here too. Also, I wanted to mention this. I've been talking about this for a while, and you can see that I've already had this broadening chart. I've got it, for a while, but you can see this broadening wedge. It's a continuation pattern, and it looks beautiful. It's got all the touch points, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is pretty good. This is pretty good. This is exactly what you want to see. This one just didn't touch down all the way, but that's fine. Otherwise, it's almost a perfect pattern. And it is a continuation higher, and that's what we will see. You best believe it. But I want to look up MP real quick. Nope. Energy is something I want to focus more attention on. Minerals and refinement. Here, I'm going to get to chat too. I don't know if I missed anything else. If there's something else that's really interesting in a topic, guys, that I missed above, please go up or please type something out and tell me what it was and who said it. Possible last flush to 111? No, I doubt it. Maybe. You could maybe get something. What is that? No, you could get, maybe 113, not 111. All right, so MP. Rare earth concentrate revenue. Wow, it just plummeted. There's their oxide metal revenue, so that went up a lot. That's offset it. Let's look at the yearly real quick on this one. So PE ratio forward of 81. This thing's been bid up a bit, I'm sure. Total value, revenue. What's the stock done? Oh, it's went up a lot. So it really had its boost. In May, it went from 18 to almost $80. This has already been a massive runner. A bit of growth on this. I feel like it should flush out first. Honestly, maybe that doesn't have to happen. I don't know enough about the sector to understand it. Or just sentiment and how bullish people are going to be and for how long. But I mean, this is pretty, this has already had a parabolic move. Just to be clear, this was $11, $10 in late 2024. So a year ago, it was like $11. Now it's $77. So I don't love things that have already run 7x. It could go up more, though. I mean, look at something like Palantir. It can do it. Give up some thumbs? Thank you. That would be nice. Yeah, I've got to look. I'm going to spend a lot of time on energy. If you guys have really good YouTubers or people on X that discuss energy and like minerals and all these rare earth things, especially for refinement, I would be very interested to hear about it. I'm going to run a bunch of Grok queries too and try and see what I can find because I want to do some research and I want to figure out the minerals and energy space really well. I want to get better at it. Do you have any energy specialists in here, chat? Yes, exactly. Can you name a few stocks and raw materials and that we can look at? No, that's the thing. I need to become more of an expert in it. I am not. People talk about Eos a lot. I've heard it's definitely getting its name out there. And I know that there's people in the Tesla community and other areas that really like this. I like that the revenues are going up. I don't love the cash flow. It sucks. It's just fucking horrible. And they keep on having to dilute, and they've got a lot of debt. I don't know if this company will work, and maybe it will. Maybe all the right people. Jordy Visser. All right, I'll have to look at chat and look at that later. There's a lot of people talking about him. Inside China Business is a good YouTube channel. I'll check out that. Okay. All right. Yeah. I need to become more knowledgeable because then otherwise I'm just kind of sitting here like an idiot pulling up charts and talking about things that I don't really feel like I have any understanding about. And so I'd like to spend some amount of effort to get an idea of what the good ones are and why they're good. And listening to a bunch of YouTubers and reading from a bunch of sources will help with that. Has a newer battery technology that could be challenging to the Chinese LFP. That is why it's interesting. Is it going to work? Is it going to work? Because if it's going to work, then I don't care if they're losing money. I mean, these estimates are good. This is cool. I'm sure they're still losing money, but they do have actual growth. And as long as the burn isn't bad, and as long as there's an incentive from the government to push, that's probably what matters. But this has also run a lot. This was 82 cents in the middle of 2024, so a little over 2 years ago. And more recently here, it's what? $14. So it's run 15x. It's 2x the other thing I was talking about. So for MP. But I mean, it could go up higher though. That's the thing I need to understand. So I'll try and listen to some of these guys that you're talking about, and see what they say, and just see if I can wrap my head around this more. Yeah, but there's always institutional ownership. I mean, they're placing bets too, right? They're trying to see what they can get to work. So it doesn't mean the company is going to be successful just because BlackRock has it. Yeah, made in USA. I've been seeing people pushing the fact that it's made in the USA and their supply chain isn't as impacted for China. That could be a really good thing. So I just need to spend some time on it. Jordy Visser, yeah, I will. Everybody, the chat seems to agree on that one, so I'll definitely take a look. Yeah, it's had a huge run. That's the thing. It's the 15x that I struggle with. And not all the charts are going in the way that they need to. But again, if it's got the Midas touch of the president or his initiatives, that might be all it takes to do really well. Solt is recovering a little bit in pre-market. It looks like, let's see, CleanSpark is at 4.4%, guys. That's beautiful. I would like to see some partnerships. It'd be fun to see some of that. I think CleanSpark, I think Schultz is a really good CEO. I like that Mike Alfred is spending time with him. I like that he's spending time with the Treasury Secretary. I'm sure other companies have been doing that too, at least a handful maybe of others. But I love that CleanSpark was a part of that. It seems to be that whole, made in America, renewable. I don't know. Like there's some reason behind it. And this is one of the better run efficient miners that are out there. And now they're looking to jump into HPC. So it's good stuff. Mr. Phil, hey Jesse, can you turn on ticker interval watermarks and trading view? It would help to follow. It's under settings canvas. Why would I do that? What's it for? What's the benefit, Mr. Phil? If you can tell me that. If there is one, yes, I will. So there's a recent video with Pomp. Okay, I'll check that out. Great info on EOEC. Small position may add a little. Yeah, I think the miners are still going to go. I mean, IREN's up 6.79. The miners haven't finished their parabolic phase. Now, I think the treasuries are literally finding their bottom right now, and so they're curving up. I'm adding the treasuries. I'll definitely take some of the outsized gains that I'm going to get from BMNU and then the SOLT I buy this morning, and just the miners themselves as they continue to go higher. I've sold maybe I think it's less than 20% of my CleanSpark position right now. It's probably like 18 or something, 17%. So I've cashed out some, but I mean, you have to give me the all right with that. I mean, we were at $22. This thing was recently at $9, so we've already jumped a lot and are sitting at 5.42 billion. I do think it's going higher though, but again, I like to lock in profits along the way. So I've still got 80, probably 2 or 3% of my money still sitting in it, ready to ride. And I might sell another, 100 or so contracts, a small percent today. We'll see. But I do think that we're heading to 24 pretty quickly. And then again, the next step, I think we're almost guaranteed to get to 33, at least 30. So I think there's a ways to go. And I think that can do really well with those options contracts. They can give you a multiple of that. And so I'll be selling on the way up, hoping to make several more $1 million off of CleanSpark, which would be cool. Solana, I think the ETF date is Thursday. Yeah, that's going to be fun, right? I hadn't talked about that yet. We're going to have Solana getting their ETF. If that happens, people are going to be very interested in Solana again. I don't know. Where do I have Solana? Oh, it's over here. Solana is lagging right now behind Ethereum. But I could see this again. We didn't talk about this chart, but we got the inverse head and shoulder very clean bounce over here. Working our way back up to this fib level, I think, very quickly. It's just a really clean setup for going higher. And if I move this up here, yeah, we could the measured move from this inverse head and shoulder, just doing candle bodies, really focusing on the good stuff. Like, let me go here. I'll go to monthly and give you this view. That's an ugly view. Let's go to weekly. It'll probably look better. Yeah, that's better. So you can see here how we're getting ready to, the measured move for this, I should say, is all the way up here, almost perfectly to the 650 range for Solana, which is a huge move. It's a 233% move. So yeah, I'm probably going to allocate like $120,000, $130,000 to SOLT this morning at whatever it's sitting at, for down a total of like 24% in the last 24 trading hours. I think that's an easy one. It could drop more today, whatever. Maybe it's doing that while I'm selling out of these other things to get the cash to buy it. Don't care. Very excited about it. It's going to be awesome. And I think that ETF coming out, potentially getting approval for the first one Thursday, is a good thing. If that happens, I think Solana takes off. People get very excited about it. Maybe it's the catalyst that we need to really get the markets to do better. And then Solana takes over for Ethereum and it takes over for Bitcoin. And it runs. It could happen as quick as that. That's why I'm not delaying. Look at silver. There will be margin calls at this rate. Look at silver. Give me a second. Silver. All right. Yeah, silver is going up pretty quick. This is on the monthly, though. It's definitely in its parabolic mode. Do you know why I still find that sad? You know why I find that sad? I mean, let's look here. This isn't horrible, right? For metals, this is fucking amazing. You've gotten 81% since the low here in April on the 25th. So that from all the tariff stuff, you've gotten an 81% return. That sounds amazing, but look at iron over that time. Look at CleanSpark. Just in the last month, you've gotten that. More than that. And just look at anything that we've been following, and you would have done just way better in those than silver. This is a big jump. Margin calls, sure. It could go even higher. But I think this is just the natural order of things. We talk about it all the time, right? The biggest containers go first. What is the biggest container outside of U.S. bonds? It's gold. So gold went first. People also jump into the other metals. CleanSpark was, or I shouldn't say CleanSpark. Silver was next, right? Silver goes. Bitcoin hasn't even started. Where's our gold to BTC ratio? Do we have that chart somewhere? Where the hell are you? I might have to pull it up. Let me do that. I want to see this one real quick. This is important. Bitcoin gold ratio. So we haven't even started. Actually, I think we just did. I should probably say that. So let me go to weekly here. So look at this. This is crazy. Oh, wow. Fuck, I'm just seeing this for the first time, guys. What the fuck? That's kind of cool. I mean, it's close enough. We'll just draw it like this, right? It's not beautiful. It's not perfect. But this is the support zone. And so we could do something where we wick under like we did here to try and find support. But this is like a beautiful support line for the BTC gold ratio. And what it's saying is gold has been winning. Gold has been winning. Just like it won over here, gold has been winning. But what's going to happen is Bitcoin's going to start to win. Bitcoin's going to win like it won over here, like it won over here, like it won over here. And as it does that, gold is still going to be going up. So there's going to be so much money flowing into Bitcoin. It's going to be beautiful. I'm excited about this. I think this is really good stuff. I need to keep that Bitcoin gold ratio up. Anyway, morning, Jesse. Great to see you again today. Yeah, great to be here. So again, we talked about the continuing broadening wedge and how that's happening with Bitcoin. I wanted to clear this up. I don't like this. This is kind of a chart crime. Here's one. So timing is really important, right? So Bitcoin in the COVID crash of 2020, Bitcoin was at the absolute low of the bear market. So you went from 9,000, 10,000 to 3,700 or something. So you really fell hard. And that was in the bottom of the bear. That was a complete flush out. Now, yesterday's tariff crash, was it a big deal? Yes. Was it remotely comparable in size and scope from what the market size was then to now? No, it's not even remotely comparable. It's a really stupid fucking comparison making these two. One is at the bottom of the bear market. The other one is in the final phase of euphoric explosion. They're in completely different time frames. The scale behind them is completely different. So I'm just pointing this out more as a chart crime. You can't always just look at something and be like, oh, that kind of looks the same thing. It isn't. Now, the outcome is going to be very similar. This guy says something about how you expect this massive increase. Like back then we got 15x return. That seems to imply that we're going to get 15x now. We're not. We're going to get a lot less than that. And anyway, it's a chart crime. Smarter Web Company, they bought 100 BTC. They're up to 2650 now. That's good. It's not great yet because, again, we just haven't really been doing much with a lot of these. What are they at right now? They're at 30. 30. So, yeah, they went up. A lot of people bought. A lot of these treasury companies bought, and that's a good thing. Mara bought, guys. Mara bought 400 Bitcoin. That's what they're good at. They're not good at their operations, but they will buy the fuck out of Bitcoin at the right time, which is respectable. I don't hate that. I don't know what just happened here. Must be an ad. Anyway, Hive's HPC strategy and AI vision for growth. So they're showing what they think they're going to be getting for revenues. They're kind of posting about that. Market Maestro said BTC miners have discovered a new game, AI data centers. After the halving, profits evaporated, GPUs have taken the stage. And so he's showing like Cypher, Hive, Riot, Iron, and I would put CleanSpark on this list because they're going to be getting some, are no longer just mining BTC. They're renting out AI compute. The AI business is 25 times more profitable per kilowatt hour than Bitcoin, 25x. Iron is targeting $500 million in revenue, while Cypher's Google-backed deal is worth $3 billion. So again, Iron is probably just going to keep going up. Let's look real quickly at it. This is a great post by Market Maestro, too, guys. You should follow him. So I still think that Iron can go up to 81, and I think it could go up into this parabolic zone. This gray to blue is like the blow-off zone, right? We were climbing up. We had a big drop. Now we've started to go parabolic. Now, parabolic is in here. Parabolic is in here. And so I think it can still go up, and it's crazy to say that. But if that does happen, if Iron is really strong, guys, CleanSpark is going to do well, and our leaps are just going to keep going up. He said, but watch out. This transformation isn't cheap. GPU investments demand billions. Miners are rapidly entering the AI era, but in this race, only those who have with strong balance sheets will survive. Just saying there's going to be a lot of competition. I 100% agree with them. This is a great post. That Merlin guy overly pumps a bit. Yeah, people do that. Some people are greater marketers than others, and you just have to watch out for it. Jill had a good post. Key levels for Bitcoin. Scary weekend behind us. Let's get back to the scheduled program. So just, again, showing retest zones, retest zones, retest zones. They perfectly match the previous highs. And and they're clear levels of support. It was beautiful. Might have a little downhill today. But all in all, looking at good stuff. All right, I think we're done with Bitcoin. Let's look at Tesla real quick, see if there's anything in here. I just said, somebody said, why do the lower gaps in Tesla's chart not matter? I talked about this yesterday, but I said it doesn't matter, and we're not going to see a lot of reduction in Tesla's price because of these things. Lowering of rates on the long end of the curve, massive amounts of global liquidity that's not slowing down. That's for everybody, right? So that's benefiting the entirety of the market. That's why we look at macro and understand that, because that is a nice multiplier to everything else around us. But the fundamentals of Tesla are great too. We're going to be talking about an Optimus robot here in like 2 and 3 weeks? 3 weeks. And the technical setup, we're still breaking out of a 4.5-year trend. So let's look at that. I'm going to try and get better at bringing these charts up while we look at stuff. We got 40 minutes to market open. We perfectly bounced off this box. And again, I did move the box just because I didn't have it drawn well to begin with. You can see how it was resistance over here, this 4.5-year trend. This goes all the way back to 2020, right? When we got up in this range of this box and then tested it multiple times. But if you look over here, we hit it. It was resistance. Over here, we found it as support. Then we tried again, but couldn't. And then we fell through. And now we've broken above it. And we're finding support now. So it just makes sense of what we're doing. This is a nice, simple back test. And I think we're ready to go higher. And it's going to go. I mean, the measured move here, just for this cup and handle, is up here towards the 540s range. And so I think that's what's coming next. I called this peak right here. I want to just remind people, I literally said this is probably it, and we're going to drop. And what did we do? We did a back test to the previous range. It 100% makes sense. Is MetaPlanet still your fave Bitcoin treasury? Yeah, probably. I don't own a lot of it. The one I have the most money in is SWC, but it probably is. And that's why when it's been dropping, I've been buying more. Anyway, that's Tesla. Solana, let's see, Ethereum. Oh, CleanSpark. CleanSpark we got to look at. I wanted to show you the chart that I had posted in case you didn't see this yesterday. This is for Ethereum. Ethereum's chart looks really, really good. It looks ready to pump. Let me look at the live version here. Again, backtesting support. This thing looks like it wants to run 54% in a short period of time. The next 30 days for sure. So, and I think it could go as high as 146. I don't think that's a crazy number. I think 10,000 is possible. That is the number we should go to, in my opinion. So I want to be out of my Ethereum-related investments. So like BMNR, I'd probably want to be out of that by the time we get up here. Just to be safe, if I'm trying to be safe. I think that can still get me to 12 to 15 million being safe. So it's going to be an exciting time. Before you head out, can we run through a few charts and the business financing plan? Sure. If you got a really good one, throw it out. But yeah, so I think Ethereum is going to do really well. I'm excited about Ethereum. I think BMNR is going to do really well based off of that too. And I think I'm happy that I bought the BMNU because this was a perfect back test in my opinion. I think we're still doing this triangle. And maybe it needs to look more like this. This is probably more honest. But whatever, that works. And then I'm going to redraw this because we shot through, which is beautiful. Or at least are real close to it, depending on how you draw it. So I'm going to just redraw it right here. But what I'm seeing is, I'm seeing this, and it's basically a triangle pattern, and or real close to it. And so I think it's going to be a nice breakout that will give us a measured move that gets us almost perfectly, a little bit under the .618. And so again, I think the moves you could see on this are going to be pretty good. If we're getting 166% increase to like 180 off of BMNR, that's a decent multiplier of Ethereum, which is, well, I mean, I should say this. If we get to 145 over here, I think there's a chance on BMNR that we overshoot and we go to this next level. And that next level is 326. So it would be closer to 223. Jesse, as exercise, can you explain how the triangle is bullish and not bearish and then invert the chart and do the same? Yeah, I'll do a session like that sometime. I'll talk about like, you can look these things up too. But I'll talk about different patterns and what they mean, and kind of I can go through them. I never really did much after the Options 101 video. But there's like, you can look these things up too, but there's like statistical probabilities of things happening over a period of time. And like the pattern that we're looking at right here, the likelihood of it breaking out higher. And again, it doesn't have to. It could turn into something else too. And this is where things can change. What comes next? Oh, hey, wow, we got the former Intel CEO talking. But you could see up here, it could do something like this, where it goes higher, and then it hits like resistance. And let me just draw this over here like this. And so maybe it gets up over here. This will be a strong level of resistance. You can also see resistance over here. And so you could stop here and pause for a while before you end up going here and then ultimately up to here. So it can turn into other things. It can turn into something that has a high probability of going higher, and then it basically hits its measured move or it hits resistance off of a new pattern that it's forming. That's why technical analysis is such a pain in the ass, because you have to look at what's happened, you have to look at where you are, and then you have to try and predict what the future looks like and what it's going to be playing out from a technical patterns. And then you have to apply your risk for buying and selling and like when you're exiting positions. It's all really complicated, man. It's hard to explain, like when you're looking at everything at different layers, it's hard to explain exactly why you're doing what you're doing, which is why sometimes just somebody asking a question and you giving an answer is helpful. What do I think of? I think all the miners are going up, so I think Bitfarms would do the same thing. Let me look at it over here. Everybody that's got that narrative of AI is going to be going up. And so let's just look. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it wants to go up to this next level around 7. And it hasn't really had a major breakout yet. It's starting to. Like this was a giant leap for sure. You definitely had your measured move up to this point, and then it just continued to go. But it's still small. It's only 3 billion or what? 2.32 billion. 2.32 billion. So this thing has a long way it can go, and it hit that level. So we'll put this up to here, and then honestly, then we need to redraw the next level because it could do that. So the next one is crazy. That's probably like the blow off top. Again, it's the same thing. You're going to see them across the charts because essentially they're around the same areas of the fib. But you're going to see right over here between the 1 and the, what is it? The 1 dot, I can't even read it. The color's horrible. 1.618, I think. That it's going to be somewhere in here where it dies, and you could run this on a lower time frame to get a better idea what that target is. But I think it's still going parabolic. I still think you have an easy 45%, and then it probably maybe a couple 100% if things keep going the way they are. If they get a good news event with AI, I mean, look at them; they're up 11% in pre-market, dude. Miners up till when? I need to roll some calls. Are you talking about for timing? What date are your calls? Should I consider rotating? And again, this is not financial advice. This is just you asking me questions and me giving my input based upon my perception of what I think I would do. I don't know your situations, so I really can't speak to them. Angel said, "Thank you, Jesse. You have helped me with so much." That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. TA is art. Yeah, kind of is. It kind of is. And when like this book I'm reading about the golden ratio, man, like mathematics is art. October 7th. Oh yeah, that's really close. Man, I don't know. They could run up until that time, but you're talking about 4 days, bro. That's super close. That would scare the shit out of me. I would never stay that close. But I do leaves. Jesse, November CleanSpark call still safe? Yes, but I'm selling them on the way up, right? So I made you guys aware of the fact that I think I don't know, it's not exact math, but like 17, 18% maybe, I think. Not 20. I haven't done 20% yet of my position, but I've sold about 18% of it, right? So I've taken the money and run from what's happened in the last, couple of months. I've started cashing out of some of it because it was up 160%, and I'm getting a multiple of that. So I've made a lot of money over that period of time. I still have, what do I have right now in CleanSpark calls? I still have over $1 million in CleanSpark calls, even after selling 18% of my position. Can you unblock me? Yes, I can. If you give me your handle, I can. Sorry if I blocked you. Sometimes it's accidental. I can't help it. It's just a part of the process. It really sucks right now with bots. They said they took 1.7 million out. So I'm hoping that makes a difference. Sol's still a good play. I'll be buying this morning. So it's that good. Oh, okay. Let me get yours, Kamal. One sec, guys. I'm just going to unblock Kamal. What? Oh, there we go. Done. Archer, can you take a quick look? Yeah, I don't love Archer. I don't love that company. I don't love anything that the CEO does. I just think he's never answered my questions, and he just shows he feels very Nikola Tesla. I could be wrong because he's doing business with Anduril, but I'm wondering if it's just a trial and if it's anything real. I don't like Archer. People were speculating last week that Tesla was going to be doing some deal with them, and that sure as fuck didn't happen. I can pull it up, but like this thing doesn't even have revenues, right? Let me see here. Yeah, I don't. Let's see here. Yeah, net income gone, cash flow horrific. What is the growth? I mean, the growth in cash is high. Their cash position has went up a lot, but the revenue, does it even exist? And what are their estimates here? Yeah, I just don't know. When are you going to make money? What is the, can you guys tell me, is it next quarter? Is next quarter when they make a bunch of money? Is it next quarter? I don't think so. Sorry, snack. So if it's not next quarter, this kind of looks like a bear flag to me. This would be a good company for me to short if I think things are falling apart. That's my take. I might actually put it on that list. I don't like the CEO though, guys. I think he's trash. What's his name? I can't remember. Or no, he's not there anymore. But he's the original founder. He's doing the robotics company now. But yeah, I'm not a fan. ASST. I don't know. I haven't looked at ASST yet in regard to what their dilution looks like. I'm not up to date with what's going on with their warrants. They sure have fallen a lot though. They're right here. Without knowing a lot about it, you guys could probably do a Grok query. I don't know if I'll do it right now, but this thing is down, what, 50% in 24 hours, roughly? Just from the start of business the other day. It's closed some more of this gap. It's closed about half of this gap. So it's definitely taking its moment. You know what I mean? You could probably just YOLO into this with a very small percentage of money, maybe some calls or something else, and do all right would be my guess. Because it's already down 92% just from where we sold out of it at 12. Powell talking tomorrow, dude. Fox Business right now, they've got Besant talking like crazy. I wish I could actually play it for you guys, but I cannot. But I would love to see it. I would love to see it right now. It'd be very helpful. What else? What else did you guys? Another one, SMCI. We can take a look at that. If you guys have any others that I commonly look at, throw them out real quick. We'll try and do another episode with some deeper dives into other things. I got to get caught up with energy. So to me, this looks like, it looks like a lot. It looks like an ascending triangle, kind of what we were looking at a second ago with the other one. If you look right here, it's like kind of resistance, and then it falls through. Or I should say this. Yeah, it's resistance. Breaks above, falls through. Over here, hits it, breaks above, can't hold it, back to here. Over here, hits it, can't get above it, or gets above it for a second, can't hold it, drops down. Over here, gets above it. It just keeps testing this over and over. And the amount of wick is getting a little bit smaller. So we'll see what happens here. I think, though, that we're still going up. We're getting higher lows from here, here, here. And let's look at this here. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. There's not any really crazy divergences right now on it. But I think that it's going to continue its path upward. It's got a lot of volume support right here on the right-hand side. There's just a ton. You can kind of see where it's hitting this shelf, right? You can see where this has all this volume built up, and now it should act as support. So maybe it could drop down into like 40s for a minute. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe it stops right here on the 100 moving average, and then it finally gets above this next fib. And if it finally gets above it and starts locking in some days of that, maybe a couple of weeks in a row, then we're off, and then we'll be up here to like the 70 level, and then we'll head up towards the all-time high. That's the fun stuff for me. I'm going to be waiting on SMCI. I might sell, maybe I sell a small amount right over here, but I bought this thing down here on this dip. It's up a lot. I think I bought it over here. So it's still up 100%, and I might sell just a little bit at 154, but I'm really waiting here for the full run to 115, and beyond. I think this thing can get crazy. I'm going to save a lot of this. I'll sell small amounts and then progressively larger ones each fib, but I genuinely think that this thing could hit 364 in the next year. If things keep going the way they're going and we get really bullish on AI, I think this could still do well. It's a $30 billion company. It is very possible that it could grow a lot. Wi-Fi, maybe. ASST you mentioned yesterday, you may look. Yeah, I haven't dug into it, but it's down 92%. So you could take a look at some options contracts and see what they look like. Why can't you play Fox Biz? If I do it, I can do it. But if I do it, it's on YouTube TV, and you can't see the screen. It won't play. It's like a playback thing. It's a YouTube TV thing. Here, I can show you real quick. One sec. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So it gets distributed through YouTube TV. If I can find this. Let me go to YouTube, and then how do I get TV? How do I get TV? No, not it. There we go. All right, so I'll do, let's see here. Yeah, there's Fox Business.
Hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious.
Right? So it plays the audio. Disable graphics acceleration, then try it. I already did. I mean, I don't know if I need to relaunch. I can try. 1 second. Hopefully this doesn't fuck anything up. With the session going live, I'm just going to kill all this. Give me 1 second here, guys. I got to reset all these fucking windows. Just give me a sec. And now they should be coming back. Hopefully it doesn't mess with the session. I don't know. We'll see. If it does, then we're done. And that's simple. Let me go over here, though, to Fox Business. I think it's a setting with these guys. Oh, my God. It works. You're amazing. That's fucking awesome, dude. There's been all these good conversations going on, and we haven't been able to listen to them. Besant talked for like an hour. We'll definitely, in the future, guys, we're going to use this now that we know that we can. So thank you for that upgraded setting. That's awesome. ArcG looking good? Yeah, let's take a look. Oh, dude, that's kick-ass. That it makes me happy. ArcG's doing all right. It's up 1%. So it's bouncing, but it's not bouncing super great. But it is hitting this previous support zone. And kind of what acted as support and resistance through these other areas too, like support. So this is good. This is a good consolidation. I'd like to get back above the 32 range. That way we're just scooping up here to the 38 range, because that's going to be fun. Once we get to that, that's a beautiful sign. And if we grind over here for a minute where this volume is, that's fine. Oh, it's not refreshing though. The image broke. Let me see here real quick, guys. I'll see if I can add that back. What is this under ArcG? Is that back? Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. Now we're looking at the right chart. Sorry, it broke it when I reset that browser. It broke the connection. So I just got to put these charts back. And let me pull this over. We'll just look at Bitcoin like this. All right. That was awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for fixing that. That was really cool. But yeah, no, so I think ArcG is going to do well. I think ArcG is still very much on its trip higher. I don't think it's slowed down a little bit, but I think we'll get back above here. We'll hit here. We'll grind maybe for a minute in this range, and then we'll go higher to this next fib level. And I think that's going to happen in short order. I think the markets are just super risk on right now, which is good. All right, but anyway, I think what I'm going to do, guys, I'm probably going to call it here. I already had a long day yesterday, so I'm going to call it here. You guys know the plan, though. I'm probably going to buy SOLT this morning, and I'll let people know on X. You guys will see that, and then I've also got to add the previous trades that I didn't do into the historical on Discord when I was on vacation. So I'll get that stuff from Friday and maybe Thursday on there, and then I'll add my new trades onto there too. But the plan is to stay long and get ready to go higher, because that's what we're going to do. I'm going into SOLT right away. It's down 12% as of writing this, so a total of 25% from its high. Could it drop lower? Yes, it could. I don't really care. I'm just going to buy it. You're welcome for doing the other session. I'm going to try and I'll be more available in the days and weeks ahead as we go higher and as we make more money. I want to be more available so that I can help at least convey how I'm exiting things and how things are looking and what I'm moving into and what my hedging strategy is. So, and then I guess we're watching a lot more Fox Business now in the future, guys. I've got both of these open and on top on the screen above me. I've got a 46-inch monitor or something like that sitting above my OLED that I have on my screen. Actually, it might be a 55. I don't know. I've got a lot of screens. And so I'm watching CNBC and Bloomberg, and now that I know what that changed, that we can watch both of them at any time. So when really smart people come up, whether it's on not Bloomberg, Fox Business, or whether it's CNBC, we can pull that up quickly. I think I might be able to get Bloomberg too. I'll see if I can create a view for that. That way we're always on top of what's happening. But this is going to be good stuff in the future. I love you guys. I hope you have a good day. Again, maybe a little dip in the morning. I'm buying here. And you know what I'm buying. Hey, buddy, when you say don't use leverage, what does that mean? Yeah, they're very different things. Let's talk about that real quick, and then I'll go. So when I say don't use leverage, I'm talking about direct leverage with like perpetual contracts, what they do in the crypto space and other parts of markets, where you're doing like 2x, 3x, 4x the underlying. Because what it can do is completely wipe you out. Now, it could technically do that with the 2x too. Yes, it could do that with SOLT. Yes, it could do that with BMNU, because those are 2x's, right? But the volatility, I think, that you're going to see with Ethereum and with Solana isn't going to wipe you out. You can have really shitty times like you had on Friday, but just remember, shit coins were down anywhere from 50 to 99%. People were completely wiped out yesterday. So in this world, and especially based on Donald Trump's wonderful timing after market to really get shit going, on a Friday, he was able to wipe out all these decentralized exchanges that have no volume, and clear out the leverage with them without having the same detrimental effects in the stock market. And again with SOLT and BMNU, these are 2x funds. But these things just aren't moving 50% in a day, because they don't have those perpetual, issues where the entirety of that market is just leveraged to the hilt, and that's why you get things that go down by 99%. It's that the market is just a joke and there's no liquidity, and it's leveraged like crazy. And once the cascading event happens, and it just is, the money's gone, everything's gone, and so you never want to be in those. The 2x funds are dangerous. You never want to in one day have a 50% drop in a 2x fund, because you're just done. It could be even 40. You're just done. So you definitely, there's risk there. But again, it's not the same level of risk. Options are great, because options is just an option to buy. You don't have to buy it. So you can devote whatever capital you're willing to lose. And then you can get a really, if you do it right, strong multiple to the upside. So they can be really great. So they're just different ways of doing it. And again, there's a big difference between me not getting wiped out and still be worth $5 million plus on Friday. Maybe that dips under that for a second today. But doing really good still. And people that were just wiped out completely and utterly and lost everything they had. There's a really big difference. These are different vehicles, as long as you know how to use them. But again, if the market was done, and wasn't going up anymore, all these long calls, all these 2x funds, they're going to get obliterated too, right? Or if they sideways chop forever. So the only time we're really focusing on these is when we expect an exponential move in the direction we want it to go. Outside of that, we should be out of them. And there's a reason why I've been lowering my concentration to options and things like 2x funds, because for a while there, it was hard to know technically and fundamentally where we were going to go. And you could just see a lot of bleed. And so you didn't want to be in that stuff. But now that we're closer to the end of what is, the most hyperbolic time in Bitcoin cycle, I want to be in things that have a multiple and that can gobble that up, especially when the macro and the fundamentals all tell me that that's a good idea. Anyway, love you guys. I know we were kind of off the rails, but I didn't really have a lot of news-related events to go off of. And I was really tired this morning, actually. But I hope you get something from this, and I hope you stay strong. And I think things are going to play out just like I say they are. So I will talk to you guys later. Malay's visiting the U.S. this week. I like it. That's awesome. I love to see it. We're going to have a strong relationship with him, and I think that country is going to do really well. Anyways, guys, love you. Talk to you later. See you Wednesday. Peace out. Don't worry. We're going to be fine. It's going to go really well. See you then. Bye.